to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, it's August, it's the summer, it's hot, and here we are. I just would beg everyone's indulgence as we are still kind of in COVID mode, unfortunately. You will notice there's no microphone at the podium, so I'd ask that everyone speak as loudly as they can when they are speaking. I guess that's it. I haven't seen any of the cards yet, but if anyone is speaking on if they've signed up to speak, you have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Pencil collection.
Okay, our first scheduled public hearing is TC 5373 Sunrise Associates. I'd ask the town clerk to please read the hearing notice.
Thank you. TC 5373-1174 Sunrise Associates LLC. Applicant seeks a change of zone from General Service T District to Business 3 District and Town Board special permits for motor vehicle dealership pursuant to Town Code Section 68-302, Subdivision F. Site plan modifications are required as part of this application. The environmental impacts will also be assessed on this property located in the Bay Shore School District on the northeast corner of the Manatuck Boulevard and Howells Road, County Road 57, number 111, Bay Shore, also known as 111 Howells Road, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York. Islip Town Board, Olga Murray, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Olga. If the applicant would come forward, please, and make your presentation. If you want to be brief, that's okay.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Town Clerk, Town Attorney. My name is Jack Kennedy. I am representing the applicant tonight, and with me is Melvin Gonzalez, who is the architect, and also Mr. Paul Curcio, who is the managing member of the LLC, which is the applicant, and is also an owner of Bright Bay Lincoln Mercury, which is a tenant on a similar property. And this is an application, obviously, to extend the parking lot of Bright Bay Lincoln Mercury onto the adjoining parcel which they already own. This parcel has not been residential. This parcel has been commercial for as long as anyone can remember. There was a funeral home there. Then there was an insurance. I'm trying to think of the name of the
Hurley.
Early Nash, yes. And now it's owned by the LLC. And as you might know, immediately to the east of this is a lot from Bright Bay Mazda, and these are going to look identical, they're going to look virtually the same, right? And it'll be used for parking of new cars, storage of cars on the lot, as it has in the other portions of the lots. Bright Bay Lincoln Mercury, now Bright Bay Lincoln, has been a 55 and older cornerstone business in the Bay Shore Brightwaters community, as I said, for many, many years. And they would like this opportunity to utilize that lot, again, which they already own, in order to expand the vehicle parking. Now, if anyone has any legal questions, I'll answer it. If not, I'm going to ask the architect, Mel Gonzalez, to step up for technical matters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Supervisor and members of the board. Mel Gonzalez, I'm the Architect, the LLC. Be happy to answer any questions rather than go through the litany of, this, review.
No, you have, what kind of lighting in that, you know, what?
The lighting is compliant with the dark sky town of Islip requirements. As a matter of fact, we addressed some of the existing lighting. That was a question that came up. And what we had, the owner hired a company to do photometrics of the existing property as well as the proposed. And with the photometrics, what we are recommending is shielding of some of the existing fixtures in order to comply with dark sky compliance. So that was one of the items that came up.
We've tried like 55 times already.
Avenue that we're taking to resolve any sort of lighting questions that were brought up last year.
The landscape you did in Mazda came out really nice, but you got that Banded Road. So you
Yeah.
got the same kind of scheme on that, or scheme on Manatuck side?
Yeah, there's some landscaping that's proposed. We discussed that with the planning department, and we are providing, we went back and forth actually on a couple of occasions with respect to the type of landscaping that they want, or varieties, sawtooth pattern, that kind of thing, just to provide the screening. Also, the fencing, we're going to provide the necessary fencing as per the requirements. So all of those items have been addressed.
Thank you.
And as far as the parking, that's all inventory parking, just so you're aware.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the architect? Okay, thank you so much. I think now we'll hear from the department. Sean?
Supervisor Carpenter, members of the board. This application increases the size of the existing Bright Bay dealership, where a business rezoning already exists in this area. This would increase the storage capacity of the dealership in such a way that minimizes adverse impacts and improves the aesthetics of the existing site, as well as Manatuck Boulevard, which are some of the concerns raised by the residents and the village of Brighton. So we think we've addressed those concerns satisfactorily.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for the department?
I do. Sean, so the last line in my packet for this applicant says that the staff recommends the board reserve decision tonight to review the comments heard tonight with the applicant. Is that for this board or?
I apologize. So I need the.
Oh, that was the planning board?
Comments from the planning board, so you have a chance to view how the application evolved. That's just for the December 9th. The current staff report is actually at the beginning.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean. Any other questions for the department? There are no cards for anyone scheduled to speak on this particular hearing. So since there are no questions or comments,
I'd make a motion
I
to close
would-
the hearing, accept the negative deck, and approve the change.
all right, we have a motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, our second application tonight is TC 5374, Great River Enterprise. Second, is the applicant ready to address us on this? Oh, just a moment. If you would, Madam Clerk, please read the hearing notice.
Thank you. Second hearing this evening is TC 5374, Great River Enterprise, second, care of John King. Applicant seeks a change of zone from Business 3 to Industrial Corridor District and Planning Board special permit for a warehouse use pursuant to Town Code Section 68-446.1 Subdivision B. Site plan modifications are required as part of this application. The environmental impacts will also be assessed on this property. This property is located on the Connecticut Central School District on the south side of Veteran Memorial Highway, State Route 454, approximately 227 feet west of Fifth Avenue, Bohemia, also known as 3040 and and 3064 Veterans Memorial Highway, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York. Islip Town Board, Olga Murray, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Olga.
You're welcome.
You may begin.
The board, my name is Joseph Clemens, partner from the firm German Clemens Architecture PC, located at 3275 Veterans Memorial Highway, Suite B11, in Compton, New York, 30779.
Can you talk a little louder? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking to you this evening in regards to my client, Mr. John King, Great River Enterprise 2, for the property discussed, 3040 Veterans Memorial Highway and 3064 Veterans Memorial Highway. We are requesting a change of zone from business to industrial corridor district, along with a minor parking relaxation. To provide insight as to the prior use of the site, the subject property was previously occupied and used by Bowman Realty Associates, or Bowman Bus Company, which used a split zone lot in connection with their operations consisting of bus service and outdoor storage of their vehicle fleet. Such outdoor storage has existed on this lot dating back to the early 1980s. The business free zoning district presently allows for a commercial automobile parking field as of right, provided that a site plan be submitted to and approved by the planning board, or for a design indicating compliance with town standards. This is contrary to what the town of Islip would likely want to see on Veterans Memorial Highway within the industrial corridor district. It is understood that the purpose of the industrial corridor district, or ICD district in short, is to promote high quality development and redevelopment and enhance the area's success as a premier industrial and office district. It was established within the intent to provide investment opportunities for successful and sustainable growth within the district, and an attempt to approve the town of Islip's Gateway to Profit Airport. This proposal presented before you requests consideration for a redevelopment of a site which contained two vacant, dilapidated, and underutilized buildings, and converted into a much improved site which includes two separate buildings, one at 30,000 square feet and another at 18,630 square feet, equaling a proposed FAR of approximately 28.1% under that of the permitted 35%. I would like to note, however, that a minor parking relaxation is requested as part of this application, as only 100 parking stalls of the required 103 are provided. A request for relaxation of the minimum is 2.9%. Our office had initially made a presentation to the planning board back in June 2021 to explain the intent of the proposed application. At this time, it was recommended by both board and staff that we request abandonment of the remaining portion of Charles Street south of the subject site. Our office had received notice from planning staff that the road abandonment requested for the remaining balance of Charles Street had been approved contingent upon the approval of the requested change of zone. As such, it is my understanding that this portion of the street is presently zone residence level A, would need to be included within the change of zone request, so that the entire property would be correctly zoned ICE in the event of approval. Taking into consideration the present zoning only for the town of Islip zoning code, the business street district is currently designated as a higher classification than that of the industrial corridor district. However, after reviewing the history of the
I can't
site,
hear him.
along with the spirit and intent of the comprehensive plan of the industrial corridor district.
Excuse me, just a moment, Mr. Clemens. There seems to be some chatter in the audience, so we'll kind of wait a second so that we can hear you.
Yeah, the reporter is having a challenge. If you could please keep your voice up.
And everyone else keep theirs down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Continue, please.
So the industrial corridor district zoning criteria had been amended in its entirety as of November of 2017. So it would be my assumption that the town of Islip would prefer the site to be designed and developed as ICD. Furthermore, on July 10th of 2021, this very board held a public hearing to amend the town code, which included a revision to the designation of districts so that the industrial corridor district ranks higher than that of business 3, and the vote was carried 5-0. This would appear to be favorable in regards to this specific application, as the zoning classification would then be an as of right when it becomes adopted, negating the need for the request to change the zone thereafter. Nevertheless, the changes proposed will allow my client to vastly improve that of the existing grounds and remove the outdoor storage of buses and replace it with a well-manicured property consisting of office and warehouse uses. Approximately 7,400 square foot of the individual office area is proposed within the larger building which fronts Veterans Memorial Highway, and a total of approximately 12,000 square feet of office space will be proposed throughout the buildings. The remaining areas to be designed as warehouse, which does require a planning board special permit. As a stipulation of such request, I would like to note that no overhead doors face any street. The layout and orientation of the buildings on site was strategically planned so that the overhead doors would face each other rather than any street frontages. The larger building provides only drive-in overhead doors, while the smaller of the buildings provides for both drive-in and loading. The reason why it's only the smaller building provides for this convenience was because of its location on site, being tucked away from view from the main roadway. These loading areas are also outside the 100-foot setback from any residential zoning district. Being that the subject site directly borders the residential zone to the south, taking into consideration recommendations received by planning staff, the sound attenuation wall is proposed within the buffer to strategically block possible views, as well as assist in any potential noise from the site. It is, of course, our intent to be a pleasant neighbor to the surrounding community. One of the objectives within the industrial corridor district was to enhance the aesthetic of roadways by means of landscaping, lot areas, frontages, and their architectural quality. The plan presented provides a minimum 10% front yard landscaping as required by the subdivision and land development regulations, and complies with the front yard dimensional setback criteria required within the zoning code. I would also like to note that there is a small plaza or seating area proposed in the front entry area of the larger building which runs on Best Highway, something which was encouraged within the initial study of the district. This would be an area which serves employees or potential guests and would promote increased activity, public health, and enjoyment. The property is also comprised of approximately 35% total landscape, including buffers, and 27% exterior buffers. The buildings which are proposed would have superior high-quality architectural elements. Each elevation would be made of exterior brick facade with decorative cornice and upward glazing. Each facade also has decorative columns which provides a change of material to interrupt the horizontal plane. These materials are chosen as high quality and provide aesthetically pleasing and enduring structures, which positively improve the overall character of the court. This was especially important on the larger building which fronts Veterans Memorial Highway. The decorative mansard roof will shield from view any potential rooftop equipment and provide some distinction between that of the strictly office area and the remaining warehouse spaces. Steel elements will be used as decorative elements on the front facades as well. The seating area at the entry mentioned earlier will provide a warm welcome which employees and guests can appreciate. It is hopefully apparent from the presentation that virtually every detail of the site shall be improved upon. As you can clearly see, my client simply wishes to establish and maintain a property which conforms to the general intent of the town of Isaac Island when preparing the industrial corridor district regulations, while also providing something which contextually fits in with the surrounding area. The improvements requested will become a benefit to the community and enhance the aesthetic of Veterans Memorial Highway corridor. This proposal will be a vast improvement from that of the blighted vacant property which presently exists there today, and likely be a great improvement from the previous uses which have recently occupied the site. As such, we would respectfully request that you grant this change of zones that my client can convert this eyesore of a site to a pleasant neighbor, and we can continue to enhance what we community. Also, so that you're aware, my client has been provided with draft deed covenants and restrictions from the planning department prior to the planning board decision. The client was in agreement with the conditions set forth, and as such, has promptly executed them for submission to the planning department for their records. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'll be happy to answer any questions which you may have.
Well, that was quite thorough. Any questions or comments to offer at this time?
No.
We do have a card, and I presume it's yours since you raised your hand, Mr. Boncour. Okay, when it's time for the public portion, I'll, not yet. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Clemens. We are now going to hear from the department, and then we'll go to the public portion.
As stated by the applicant, this application proposes a use that conforms with the adopted Vets Highway plan, while removing a non-conforming use that has been the subject of various complaints in the neighborhood. The site plan shows a conforming buffer with the sound attenuation wall, which complies with the town's code, and in addition, Charles Street will be abandoned and access to Ninth Avenue will be prohibited, which is also a principal concern raised at the planning board hearing. So the staff thinks this is a market improvement over what's there and support the application.
Thank you, Sean. Are there any questions?
Yeah, one question. Sean, the sound attenuation wall, that's something we'll work through at site plan.
Correct.
I noticed from the rendering that's offered, there will be landscaping that will buffer the sound attenuation wall from the residential neighborhood to the south of this, so that the residential neighborhood is not looking at a wall that they weren't previously looking at. We'll screen it with some landscaping.
Yeah, it's code requirement.
Thank you.
And to the point of screening, I'd just like you to verify what I think I heard, that there will be no equipment visible on the rooftop. That will all be screened, any rooftop equipment.
That's a form covenant we put on every application. No one should be seeing any equipment from the residents.
Great. Are there any questions Comments further for the department? Hearing none, we'll go to the public portion. We have one person who signed up to speak, Mr. Richard Boncourt. 3 minutes.
As far as the sound absorbing material, how is that constructed?
Well, okay, so now this is not a question and answer. You just present whatever your comments you have. If you have any questions, when you're done with your 3 minutes, then the applicant or the department will address them. Great. So is that your only concern, the sound wall?
Yeah, sound wall, and what happens to Charles Street now that it's closed off? Does it just sit there, or is it an open area, or what happens?
Okay, so those are your two concerns, what happens to Charles Street and the wall.
Yes.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that there aren't any driveways which will lead to Charles Street. That's what we had before with Mountain Park.
Okay. Okay, you've given us 3 points. We will address them with the department and the applicant. Is there anything else? Okay, thanks so much for coming down. All right. And address these 3 key points that Mr. Boncourt is inquiring about. Let's start with the sound wall.
The sound wall would be an 8-foot-high concrete block wall, and it's also screened from view with landscaping as per the zoning code. These are requirements of that in first conversations with the planning department. In regards to Charles Street, that would also be comprised of the buffer. This proposal would essentially be closed with this application, so there would be no, as Sean had alluded to, there would be no connection back to 9th Street as Bauman was originally doing. That road was being used, I guess, illegally, or not the code. So that would all kind of go away with this application, as there are no roadways that lead to that. It's all sealed up and will all be made up of landscaping, once they go through the sound attenuation wall. So that would rectify that. If that answers.
Well, he spoke about any driveways going out to,
There would be no possible way to put a drop. It's made up of parking which ends outside the buffer area.
Okay.
Property around 30 to 50 feet.
Sean, did you want to add to any of that? Okay, very good. Does that answer your question?
I guess my concern is the sound 8 feet of the sound keeping wall up. 8 feet isn't very high.
This is what was demonstrated to us by the planning department.
And this is kind of standard procedure, and I guess we could ask Sean to speak more specifically to the requirements and the effectiveness of a sound wall being at a certain height as opposed to something higher. And if I understood correctly, it is going to be screened by landscaping, which does offer a bit of a
Series of evergreens. In addition, the loading areas are required to be 100 feet away from the residential boundary. So any of the louder activity will be further away, and it shouldn't be perceptible. So again, this level of detail typically gets addressed at site plan review, which is ultimately determined by the town engineer.
Mhm.
So it will ensure that the wall is tall enough and also of sufficient material that will apply to the code.
I have a question.
And we do know, and we'll be making sure that all of these requirements are met.
I have a question.
Certainly, Councilwoman.
So Sean, very often we require a applicant to put in screening of greens, but then we don't require them to water or put a drip system around the greens so that they live. Is there a requirement that they put some sort of watering system in there so that they live?
I was under the understanding that that is typically a requirement for new plantings, particularly in buffer areas by the Division of Engineering. Staff would have no objection adding that to the covenants to ensure that gets installed.
Can we ask the applicant perhaps if he would agree to make sure that there's some sort of a watering or dripping system that keeps those plantings alive? Because I've gotten so many complaints to my office on different applications where the greenery actually dies because nobody waters it.
I don't believe that would be a problem. I believe that would be in agreement with
Thank you. And we put that on the record, right? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, are there any further questions or comments of the applicant or the department?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to close this public hearing, adopt the negative declaration, and approve this application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Boncour. Okay, we will move to the next item on the agenda, RG 158 Candlewood LLC, and ask the town clerk to please read the hearing notice.
Okay, thank you. Hearing number 3, TC 5375, RG 158 Candlewood LLC. Applicant seeks a modification of deed covenants and restrictions associated with TC 5063 in order to permit more than one user and allow overnight loading and unloading of vehicles. The environmental impacts will be assessed on this property. The property, which is located in the Brentwood School District on the south side of Candlewood Road, approximately 1,820 feet west of Fifth Avenue, Bayshore, also known as 158 Candlewood Road, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York, Town Board of, Islip Town Board, Town Clerk Olga Murray.
Thank you. The applicant come forward, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, members of the town board and attorney staff. My name is Philip Butler. I'm with the law firm of Farrell Fritz, representing the applicant. I'm joined here tonight by Steve Ditta and Wayne Muller of Arnhem Engineering, Nikki Columbus, representing the applicant, and Doug Armstrong, who is the broker for this facility. The property is an existing 200,000 square foot warehouse built about 10 or 15 years ago. The property is changing hands to Rockefeller Group, which is the applicant. As part of the turnover, we are looking to modify some historic covenant restrictions that were placed on the property that limit the overnight loading and unloading of trucks, and also which restricted the tenancy of the building to one occupant without a planning board hearing. This is being done to allow for greater flexibility in marketing of the space. Nothing about the property is currently changing. Like I mentioned, the facility is existing. The most recent tenant, which has since, I believe, vacated prior to the sale, was Ruby's Costume. So the facility is currently not operating at its usual capacity. As part of the proceedings before the planning board, there were some proposed conditions. We did a study of traffic and potential sound impacts related specifically to the overnight activities. The sound study we commissioned revealed that there would be no appreciable impact on sound above the existing ambient noise conditions. Same with traffic. The additional traffic overnight would result in a total of, I think it was 7 additional truck trips over the course of a 24-hour period. So we're asking that the covenant be modified, and we're happy to respond to any questions from the board.
Thank you. Are there any questions
No.
with the applicant at this time? Hearing none, I'd ask the staff to come forward. Sean, if you would.
At the public hearing before the planning board, the primary concern raised was the noise and the associated traffic with covenant changes. As stated by the applicant, they have submitted noise and traffic studies indicating that any of the anticipated adverse impacts are anticipated to be minimal. The applicant has agreed to address the noise mitigation with the Division of Engineering, which will likely include some sort of sound attenuation wall or apparatus or landscape. But that would be determined at site plan.
Okay. Any questions for the department? Comments? No speakers have signed up, so hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to close the public hearing, issue a negative declaration, and approve the application.
We have a motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Thank you. You're very welcome. Our fourth application is TC 5376 Nether Bay LLC. I'd ask the town clerk to please read the hearing notice.
Thank you. Hearing number 4 this evening, Nether Bay LLC, TC 5376. Applicant seeks a modification of deed covenants and restrictions associated with TC 5302A in order to correct the permitted floor area ratio. The environmental impacts will be assessed on this property located in the Bay Shore School District on the west side of South Clinton Avenue, approximately 611 feet south of Montauk Highway, Bay Shore, also known as 36 South Clinton Avenue, Town of Islip, Suffolk County, New York. Islip Town Board, Olga Murray, Town Clerk.
Thank you. You may begin.
Good afternoon, Supervisor Carpenter and fellow board members. My name is Charles Ferraro from Bayberry Capital Group. This is Blaine Ferraro also from Bayberry Capital Group. We're here once again to ask for permission for a 2.3-foot front yard setback for a portico share on a project that had previously site plan approval was approved. On the portico share that is abutting to South Clinton Avenue. The second thing is we are asking for permission for a floor area ratio to increase from 0.503 to approximately 0.61. The first request was we were asked to have the town board memorialize the 2.3-foot setback in the CNRs. And the reason for the second request to increase the floor area ratio from 0.503 to 0.61 was the fire marshal would not allow the unusable area in the basement. So he wanted that to be included in our floor area ratio. So that's why we're here.
Okay. All right. Any questions at this point?
No.
All right, let's hear from the staff, please. Sean?
What?
Not too much to add. As stated, the calculations for gross floor area was omitted for some of the passive spaces that were proposed for the facility, the bulk of which is going to be that unused basement space and the applicant had indicated. The primary driver of density for a assisted living facility is the number of beds and patients. It's not the size of the basement. So planning staff does not anticipate that this clarification that we're asking for, or the applicant's asking for, will result in any adverse impacts. It does not change our original recommendation of the application.
Great. Okay, any questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, adopt the negative declaration, and approve the application. And Mr. Ferraro, you've been before us so many times. I hope we don't have to see you again on this building.
Second. Make it all sound before.
So we have a motion by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the last item that we have before us this evening is TC 5372 IA Holdings. There is no hearing on this. It's already been closed. We were waiting a decision from the Suffolk County Planning Commission. They have recommended that we move forward with this. Anything else you need to add, Sean?
Just real brief, just call to the board's attention, there was one condition the planning commission put on it. It was that the requirement that Department of Health approve the application, which typically means service. And that's something we support, and it was already in the covenant. It's just a clarification.
Okay, great. It's all in there already, and we know that that's what will happen. Okay, may I have a motion?
Motion to issue a negative declaration and approve the application. The public hearing was previously closed.
We have a motion by Councilman O'Connor, second.
Second.
By Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. And I do believe that takes care of everything we had on the agenda before us this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
First, I'm gonna let us see first. Get that out of the way. see that. Owner of the beefsteak. Yeah, I see that. We got our $300 on the ice
I
cream.
was like, are you gonna get some ice cream?